Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to properly operate a centrifuge. There are large centrifuges like this that are done for that are used in high volume facilities, and then there are smaller centrifuges that are used as stat centrifuges or used more in clinics. The idea is the larger the centrifuge, the longer it takes to make a full round, and so it'll take longer to actually reach its full speed and then to slow down. The smaller ones can make a round faster, and so they reach their optimal speed in a lot shorter amount of time. So with this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you the controls along the front. Right here is our on-off button. We need to turn it on. This button opens the lid. This button right here is the brakes. Okay, with the brakes, the reason why we would need to stop the centrifuge before it's actually gone through a complete cycle is if it's unbalanced and we just stop and balance it again, or if there is possible contamination because of a broken blood tube. And then right here is our time, and this is our speed. So RPM stands for repetitions or rounds per minute. Generally, blood specimens are spun at around 3,500 RPMs. There's different speeds for urine and fecal samples. Also, with any kind of specialized testing, and coag tests are generally spun at a different rate as well. As far as time goes, we're going to want to set this at about between 10 and 15 minutes to spin. So in order to open this, we have to make sure the lid is unlocked. We go ahead and hit the open button. The specimens we're going to be using, we have one that it will produce plasma and one that'll produce serum. How we're going to do this is we have to be able to balance the specimens. Whatever we put on one side of the centrifuge, we have to put on the other side of the centrifuge. Color cap means nothing. What we're working with is we're working with the volume. So if we have a thicker tube, which will hold more volume, we need to pair it with another tube of the same volume and of the same width. Okay? So if I have two blood specimens, such as these, that are uneven in volume, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create and use balance tubes. Balance tubes are just water. For this one, I would go ahead and pick this balance tube. Now, keeping in mind, blood does weigh a little bit more than water. So I always want to have a little bit more water in my balance tube than I do blood. Okay. And then these two would be paired in pods that are across from each other. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my blood specimen, I'm going to put in one pod, and then directly, kind of a mirror image, I'm going to put my balance tube. Now in the centrifuge, again, this is a larger centrifuge that holds quite a few tubes. The smaller centrifuges that I talked about hold about 6 to 8 tubes. Those take about 5 to 7 minutes to make a complete cycle versus this one that's about 10 to 15. These pods have to be balanced not within the pod, but balanced with the pod that's across from it in the centrifuge. These pods have caps. The caps go over the top and screw on. And the reason why that's important is if there is a break in any of these tubes, then it's contained in that pod and it doesn't contaminate any of the other specimens that are in the centrifuge. Okay, so once I'm done, I have my caps on my pods. I'm going to go ahead and shut my centrifuge lid. I'm going to lock it, and then I'm going to set my timer, and I said between 10 and 15 minutes. And then you're going to go ahead and see that the inside of the centrifuge starts moving. Again, the larger the centrifuge, the longer it takes to reach that 3,500 RPM mark, and it'll take longer to slow down. If this is unbalanced at all, right about now is when you would hear a slight sound like an unbalanced washing machine.